Welcome back. My name is David Hopper, and this video is part of a 26-part series that follows the alphabet from A to Z. Each letter represents an important part of the launch process for new ministries, new campuses, and new churches. Today, we are talking about K. Knowledge is power. Now, this works in two ways. Personally, you need to continue to be a learner, and team. You need to continue to inspire your team. If you're good at one, you're most likely good at both. If you're bad at one, you're most likely bad at both. For this video, we're going to focus on 4 specific areas of knowledge that we need to continue to develop for ourselves and our team. The first area of knowledge goes back to the C video, crafting a compelling vision, the vision frame. See, leaders need vision, especially new ones and the ones that you're trying to recruit, the new ones to the team. People are attracted to vision. People give to vision. Vision must continue to adapt in an ever-changing world. I believe the world is getting faster and faster. There was a time that we could have a vision for a company or an organization, and that'd be good enough to last a lifetime. But now we are seeing companies and churches and organizations die left and right because their inability to adapt. Ford could come out with great cars for years, but then Tesla takes over as the highest valued car company within just a few years because Ford is just a little slow to adapt. The big box stores that were so popular a few years ago are going out of business because we live in a Etsy, Amazon. This is the way it is, right? Social media has replaced newspaper, TV news, and about 50 other industries. Adaptation is the name of the game. Throughout this video, I'm going to give you some resources, but the point isn't actually the resource because in a year, there'll be something better. It's the fact that knowledge is power, and we need to be a constant learner and a constant vision caster to our team. Canoeing the Mountains by Bolsinger, it talks about how Lewis and Clark took a group of men on a journey to find the water route from the East United States to the West United States. They had canoes and everything they needed to be successful in water. Then they hit the Rocky Mountains. Okay, one mountain, we could probably do that, but it kept getting bigger and stretched for miles and miles. The depth, the height, everything that they had prepared for was gone. So what are you going to do when that happens? You adapt or die. It's a great book that walks you through this process of adapt or die. I can tell that many incredible entrepreneurs stop being learners in our world because every month I read about another company going bankrupt. I'm writing this in the midst of coronavirus, the 2020 pandemic that rocked our world. It's interesting to hear the sadness of everyone as a company dies almost daily. Then I look at the company that declares bankruptcy, Hertz, Chuck E. Cheese, Pier 1, J.C. Penney's, J. Crew, Brooks Brothers. You know what every one of these companies have in common? They look exactly the same as when I was in high school. These same principles apply to churches as well. Instead of bankrupt, we might say the door's closed. Somewhere along the way, they stopped being learners. You have to be a baller to launch a church or a company. So I have no doubt whoever the founder was had this incredible vision, an inspirational mission. They built a team of amazing people to launch something great. And then a few years passed of reaching people or seeing growth, and then something fascinating happens. The leader was treated like a genius, and he started believing the yes men who he or she surrounded themselves with. And the smarter they were told they were, the more they stopped learning. Which leads us to point 2 of knowledge is power, relationship. In the end, relationship will trump money and vision. You can have an incredible vision and the greatest mission to our world, but if you're a jerk to work with, people will move on. You can be the best paying job in the city. You'll have lots of people join your team, but when you see turnover every year, you seem to be losing 3 more people. No big deal, 3 more jump on really fast. But then you lose 3 more. No problem, everyone loves coming to this job. We pay so well. Yes, but you could pay a lot less and be awesome at relationship, and you will find the longevity that builds something far greater that will last. Relationship starts with just knowing your team. You know their name, you know their wife's name, their kids' names. Then you begin to know them really well, right? What makes them tick? What are their passion areas? What are their dreams? Most leaders I have met barely get past step 1, knowing the name. And they might try to get to step 2 if the organization is really small, but get a few people on board and that one slips fast. Problem is, there's 5 more steps after that. We need to make sure that we're building relationship with our team. Knowledge is power as you get to know your team better and better every single day. The third key of knowledge is power is onboarding. So we're going to talk a lot about that more in a different video. But again, we're talking about being a learner and equipping your team with this knowledge so they'll be successful. And this can be such a lost art in ministry. How have you maximized this leader into the perfect role that they were built for? Did you give them the right training to be successful? Did you give them great tools to be successful? One time when I started working for a church, this was a big church, over 5,000 people. I get to my first day of work and they hand me a laptop that was so old, I wasn't even sure it would turn on. I immediately gave it back to them and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna buy my own computer. There was this lack of knowledge from this organization of the tools for success. They hired me, and that was great, but they weren't ready for where we needed to go, the tools that would get us there. Over and over, we'd run into these roadblocks of knowledge for success. There are always little intricacies of jobs, things you should know, things to do and not to do for success. Are you helping a new team onboard in this way? Do you know them personally? This is a ministry, not a business. Relationships should rule the day, and we need to continue to build knowledge of the people we're working with. Get to know them a little bit more every month. This is also part of onboarding. Be available and live life together. This is also going to help immensely when you need to make adjustments in staffing. You'll be in the journey together as life change happens and changes need to be made in what someone's doing. Knowledge is power when it comes to making staff changes or staff moves. The final key in this letter for knowledge, how are you helping them grow? See, if you're a learner, you're going to be someone who helps others learn. When you read a great book, pass it on to your team or someone who would benefit from that book. One I will pass on to you watching this video. It's one of my favorite. I give it to everyone I like. It's called The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. This book is amazing. It's an oldie but a goodie. I've given it to so many people because the principles are timeless. Another book I love is called Traction by Wickman. I love this book so much that I actually rewrote it in about 100 pages into a nonprofit ministry form because it's used to build organizations. But instead, I saw all the principles working so well for churches that I used it in that way. It's an awesome book and many of the principles are in this video series. A brand new book I love is Storytelling It's Easy by Barrett. Just kidding. This book looks like it was written in the 60s. But I took this book to India with me and the team that I was with made so much fun of me because they're like, what in the world are you reading? That book looks so old. And my answer was, I had just been given about 50 books from an older gentleman who was cleaning out his office. And if you're a learner, people know it. So he gave me this book collection. And they're not all winners, but who knows? You might just discover a gem if you're a learner. Help your team grow and they'll be loyal and get better every year. Invest into your team with true relationship. Invite them to your home for dinner once a month. Go on vacation with them. Have fun together. Life is too short to just be a boss. And hire new workers every year, that's going to be terrible. Build a team around you that is smaller and tighter, that can adapt, learn, and get better every year. I promise you that will be way more fun. Before we close this video, let me give you one more bonus to knowledge is power, and that's training. The conferences, the retreats, the coaches. You should be paying me for coaching forever. I'm being facetious, but let's be honest. You value things that cost you something. If you're paying for training, you take it seriously. Have a coach, have a conference, have a retreat where you're gaining knowledge every year. If you're not doing this, you're becoming the boss who knows everything and eventually you will go bankrupt. Your homework for this letter is to go to each person on your team and ask questions. Be a learner, both about what the team is doing, about the personal lives of your team. Care about how the kids are doing. Take special interests to help in both personal and business ways. What is one thing that you can add to the life of your team member this week to make their life a little better? The next time we get together for coaching, I want you to tell me one special way you invested into each of your team members. Can't wait to hear about it. Next time we'll be talking about L, which is linking arms in the community. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.